keep in mind that this video will have spoilers of the entire franchise. And with that said, let's begin. I have made several videos about Hello Neighbor franchise, which you can watch by hitting on the cards above to keep up to date on what happened. Mr. Theodore Peterson arrives at the quiet town of Ravenbrooks with his family, Diane, his wife, Aaron and Maya, his 2 children. Life has never been too easy for Mr. Peterson, as one of his later designs of a thrill park attraction ride malfunctioned, causing an accident which ultimately led to a tragedy. This led to Theodore struggling to find jobs and made amends for his mistakes, clearing his stained reputation. A big move to a new town where no one knew him seemed to be the ideal decision, where he alongside his family could start a new life. Little would he know, however, as that his new life would be anything but peaceful and happy. One feral day, after one of Aaron and Maya's usual imaginative games, time passes on with no sign of their parents being back home for their usual lunchtime. Waiting patiently for a while, Theodore comes back home alone without the mother, explaining how they were involved in a car accident leading to the death of Diane Peterson. This breaks both Maya and Aaron, with Aaron becoming heavily affected by this loss, who slowly starts exhibiting repressed resentment towards his father, venting out his anger on the only person who could, his innocent and kind sister Maya, by being really rough and mean to her. After time and time battling his demons, yet succumbing to them and being more rough to Maya, he takes one step further and lures his sister to the rooftop, playing with her favorite doll, taunting her. This, as despite fully knowing Maya is scared of heights, which is visualized through her perspective, and the distance to the ground is heavily over-exaggerated, with them being seen to be in the clouds. That's when Aaron makes his biggest mistake in life, which would change him forever, with Maya accidentally slipping, leading to her falling, with the family shrinking to only 2 who have suffered the loss of the 2 most joyful members of their family. Peterson's family being shrunk to 2 mentally scarred members, Theodore and Aaron, who blame themselves for the death of Maya and Diane, become versions of themselves whom they never could have imagined. Aaron losing his mind, Theodore thinks of the only option possible to keep him safe, trapping him in the basement to prevent him from getting arrested and locked away for accidentally causing the death of Maya, while Theodore does the unimaginable, burying his own daughter in his backyard to avoid any questioning from public. Things don't get any easier from this point onwards, as a neighborhood kid known as Nicky Roth has befriended Theodore's son Aaron a while ago, being familiar with the family. One day, Nicky starts hearing strange sounds coming from Peterson's house when he notices Theodore locking someone in the basement before starting to break down into tears. His curiosity gets the better of him, trying to investigate the house and who could be locked in, when Theodore traps him in the basement as well in order to keep Aaron safe. This leads to more problems and issues, leading to the second half of the first game, with Hello Neighbor 2 seemingly being the events that directly followed after this. This is when an investigative journalist known as Quentin starts to investigate, trying to find out the missing children of the town, Aaron and Maya Peterson, whom nobody knows where they could be, as Theodore reported them to be missing rather than one being dead and the other being locked in the basement. The story begins with Quentin, the protagonist of the game, arriving at the Ravenbrooks town, opening his journal of how the missing children in question are Maya and Aaron, with Quentin having a few suspects in mind, including the children's father, Theodore. Watching Theodore's house from a distance, he notices how he takes Aaron, his missing child, into the house by force, depicting how he is the one who's been hiding him, and falsely claiming that he's missing. Trying to collect more evidence by taking pictures, Theodore notices Quentin snooping around. Theodore, as a result, gets close enough to his van to break his window by a shovel that he used to bury Maya, which causes Quentin to get nervous and drive off quickly, just to see an obscured figure appearing in the middle of the road, having a crow mask on. Trying to avoid hitting this character, Quentin reacts as quick as he can, but as a result crashes into a nearby barn belonging to Mr. Peterson. As soon as he exits the barn, Theodore attacks him with a shovel, with the last thing Quentin remembering being that Theodore removed the film from his camera, getting rid of any evidence that he is the one who is hiding Aaron. As, after all, Theodore is desperately trying to protect the only family he has left, his son, as he seems to be cursed with bad luck. Quentin then awakens in the Ravenbrook's banner station with his head wrapped in bandage, not remembering how he ended up here. He then gets back to his investigation, but he comes across a police officer known as Keith Nelson, having off-limited Peterson's house, already being on his case, looking for him, while it seems Theodore has vanished and left his house. Quentin not being able to continue his investigation with the police present, he tries to snoop around, especially as he doesn't necessarily have good relations with the police officers, finding Quentin to be more nuisance than help. Managing to sneak his way into Peterson's house, he finds hundreds of missing posters for Aaron and Maya, revealing how it's been Theodore himself who has been spreading these posters to seemingly misdirect the authorities from holding him as a suspect. After some exploration, Quentin comes across a local newspaper article of the local museum closing with its keys being stolen, which gives him a good idea of where Theodore might be hiding. As soon as he leaves the house, a paper plane hits him, being Aaron's missing poster with writing saying "Help me," as if being written by Aaron himself, who is being held captive by Theodore, who wants to protect him by locking him away. After investigating some of the suspects of the town, who all seem to have secrets of their own, the mayor, Mr. Otto, the taxidermist, and the town's baker, Greta, Quentin decides to investigate the museum. He follows the trail of these paper planes leading to the museum, indicating how Aaron must be in there, throwing these paper planes from a high level as they fly so far away. So possibly he could be trapped in the attic this time around. As Quentin explores the abandoned museum, he finds Theodore's shovel, which he used to knock Quentin out, which leads to him strangely passing out and reawakening back in the station, having a realistic nightmare of Theodore hunting him. Going back to the museum, the evidence leading him there seemed to be correct, as Quentin finds Theodore residing in there temporarily to hide from the police until their investigation is concluded. Soon, Quentin finds a portrait of Aaron and Theodore, which leads to another nightmare with Aaron being forcefully taken, which awakens Quentin yet again back in the station. Going back to the museum once more, he manages to bypass the angry and vigilant Theodore, going to the attic where he finds an elaborately constructed cell where Aaron has been kept in all this time. With the passage of time, Aaron exhibits fear and insecurities, portraying how insecure he has become, not trusting strangers and finding it difficult to make connections. His unclean and not looked after appearance also suggests neglect and how he has not been taken care of by Theodore. Nonetheless, a caring Quentin takes his hand when Theodore arrives, violently attacking Quentin and throwing him in the cell, with Quentin using this time as a distraction for Aaron to run away. Theodore quickly chases after Aaron, giving Quentin some time to find a way out. As Quentin manages to break open the door, he finds Aaron hiding under a table when he holds his hand, wanting to lead him outside. Aaron, instead of walking out with him, shows reluctance and uncertainty, as after all, he's been locked and mistreated by his own father, someone whom should be trusted the most, making a young Aaron rightfully very confused. Quentin reassures Aaron and shows him kindness, which makes him more confident to leave, but that's when Theodore appears, trying to get Aaron back, when all of a sudden the crow statue above him falls on him, pinning Theodore to the ground. This causes a broken Aaron, who also lost most of his family, run to his father's aid to ensure his safety, as after all, despite the toxicity of Theodore and his mental breakdown, Aaron still has the strongest connection with him, as Theodore is his father at the end of it all, no matter what he would do to him. Just as Quentin watches a badly manipulated and scared Aaron embrace his father, an unknown character from behind whose shadow is only visible hits Quentin from behind, giving him a concussion, dragging his semi-conscious body out of the museum. The story is left at a cliffhanger here, where we need to wait for Hello Neighbor 3 to figure out who this individual was. But going through the multiple books and having done a video on Hello Neighbor 1, the doomed fate of Mr. Peterson is revealed, to how he kidnaps another child by the name of Nicky Roth, who saw Mr. Peterson keeping Aaron in the basement. To keep Aaron safe from the authorities, Mr. Peterson kidnaps Nicky and keeps him in the basement as well. After